this. This funny chaos on a stage is the world's first original solo play to highlight retail crime and loss prevention, and it's coming to the Northampton Center for the Arts. This comedy-drama story of self-discovery follows elderly security guard Steve Smelly. He thinks his complacency at a department store is a way of life, until a staff shortage hits the loss prevention department. Under the strict eyes of the evil corporate manager, Mr. Coldstone, Smelly is reassigned as a loss prevention detective to curb rampant shoplifting. If he fails, he will find himself out of a job. To make matters worse, he stumbles a shocking discovery that will not only test his loyalty to the store, but also his decision will impact his cherished relationship with co-workers. Don't miss this groundbreaking show, in which Ken Harris performs 12 characters in an 80-minute story that will leave you on the edge of your seats. Check out the show dates below and get tickets to Foes of a Minimum Wage Guard today.
This project is funded by a grant from the Springfield Cultural Council. Thank you.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Scriptropolis, a playwright's journey. Second video uploaded here. This video conveys my journey in writing my solo play, Foes of a Minimum Wage Guard, which I believe is the first solo play in the world to highlight loss prevention and retail crime and shoplifting. I wasn't too happy about the first video that I submitted. The sound was very choppy. The video was longer than I anticipated. My goal is to make 10-minute videos, but that was a pretty long video there. So I want to try to hope that this video is an improvement. Just to pick up where I left off with respect to the creative process, my experience in working in loss prevention and my experiences working in mall security, I just naturally felt that would be a fascinating topic for a solo show. So again, the announcement of the closure of the Eastfield Mall in Springfield prompted me to just take out a pen and paper and start jotting down my ideals and then the play itself. And it took me a week to write the play. And then I would say the hardest part of writing is the rewrite process. So it took me forever. This is actually the first draft. I believe it's 50 pages long, and it went through tons of rewrites. So I would say the challenges with respect to writing a one-person play is just looking at the blank paper, like where do you go from here? What are you trying to convey? What is the message? So I knew right beforehand that what is my topic? What is something that's gonna keep this story in line with the structure? So I knew it was going to be a story of self-discovery about a character learning about himself, learning about the people he interacts with, learning about his environment. So what I did was I took out a piece of paper and I drew a straight line. And then what I did was I divided these lines up just like a play. You have a beginning, middle, and end. And what I did was I labeled plot points. Plot points are like obstacles for the characters throughout the storyline. So in my head, I said, okay, I want Foes of a Minimum Wage Guard to take place during the course of a day, during a shift. So with the plot points, I highlighted these different obstacles that Steve Smelly, the elderly security guard, have to endure throughout the course of the day. And while I do this, everyone have their own way of going about writing, but I turn on jazz music. I listen to jazz music. I will even listen to music. old school mall music, jazz music, smooth and something. Because when I listen to music, music helps me write. Music helps me come up with additional ingredients for my story, whether it's the soul, the spirit of the character, whether it's a situation or event that happens in the story. And sometimes when I finish writing like an outline of my story structure, I may go back and change some things and move some things around. But it's important that for a story, you get your character up a hill and then you want to get your character back down a hill. So, the character, everything is the setup of the story. You introduce the characters. With this medium, the theater, it's all about language, right? Verbal language. So characters, as they interact with each other, that's where the audience would start to pick up on the background, the situation, all this stuff that's happening, what the character likes, what the character don't like, the strengths, the weaknesses, past experiences, relationship with people within his or her inner circle. I've always felt that when I write a story, I have to always make it a dire situation. The character has something to lose, right? At any minute, something could drastically happen to the character, something that he or she wouldn't like. So in my story, my character works in a retail store. So he is reassigned from a retail guard as a loss prevention detective against his wishes. There's a shortage in this department, and he's told by the loss prevention district manager that if he doesn't curb shoplifting, he will be fired. So he has this throughout the course of a day to prove himself, and he does not want to be fired. He has many reasons why he don't want to be fired. One of the reasons is he's only 5 years away from retirement, and he wants to pay off his mortgage will be paid off at that time. And the backstory for Steve Smelly is that he wants to pay off his house and give it to his daughter, who's a school teacher. His daughter is like his only living relative he talks to. He has a son that's in the Marines, but it's like an estranged relationship. It all started, one of the reasons is that his son didn't like his name. He changed his name from Smelly to Sweet. And Steve did not like that. So John Sweet instead of John Smelly, his name is John Sweet, and he's a private in the Marines. So they've had their disagreements about little things here and there. So Steve has a closer relationship with his daughter Holly, who he meets on a regular basis at a diner. And Holly is church going. She's a strong Christian, and she's the one that picks him up and lure him to church. And then afterwards, they would go out to eat sometimes. So I had that story rolling there. The backstory also, what I would also do before I write the story itself, before I actually write the screenplay, I take a couple of sheets of paper and I write just an autobiographical story of each character, or biography of the character, where they've been, what they've done, again, their strengths and their weaknesses, all the shame veins. I just keep writing away. Don't have to be perfect. You're just free associating, just like I'm doing now with this video. I'm just speaking whatever comes to my mind. And then again, you're gonna have writer's block, whether you're doing the storyline or you're actually writing the dialogue for the characters or the description. So what I do, again, I just listen to music. And sometimes you may just want to stop and just stand up, walk around, go outside, get some air. You don't want to spend hours writing. Usually when I write an hour, then I stop. And then if I do write again, I might write for 1 more hour, then I stop. No more writing. I put 2 hours in for writing, and that's it. Because if you do too much too soon, it'll be it'll be overkill. Now, I am guilty of that. When I wrote this play on a notebook, I free associate. I get just writing until I did a play in about a week. You're not supposed to do that. I did burn myself out. It was very stressful. It was at a point where in the middle of that I just want to give. I asked myself, what am I doing? What am I doing? But looking back, I should have just stopped, paced myself, just write an hour here, write an hour there. Me being an experienced actor, writer, I should have known better. So don't fall into that temptation where you just want to get everything done. Because the thing is, the creative process, there can always be bumps along the road, but you just have to take your time and just to make it smoother so you can get the best out of yourself with respect to writing. A solo play is not like a screenplay, so you writing, you're going to be up there on the stage, or someone you're writing for is going to be up on the stage doing these multiple characters. So you got to keep that in mind. You're writing for the medium, for the theater, so it may come off differently. The flow may come off differently than writing for a screenplay. So again, it's just trial and error. You know, with respect to my monologues or dialogues in the story, I try my best to keep the dialogue short. Once you get to know the characters, the dialogue just starts to flow freely. But I am also mindful as to that. Who is my audience? Do my audience understand this? Do they get this? So in the back of my head, for my story, I picture my audience as new hires at a employment orientation. And my character, Steve Smelly, is actually talking to them. He's giving them facts of life talk about not falling into temptation. And it goes into his story. And that's how Falls the Minimum Wage Guard starts to materialize from that point. So, just don't do too much too soon. Writer's block. Every writer has writer's block. Don't let that get to you. Again, I also recommend looking at monologues and plays that are available online, whether through Amazon or Barnes and Noble or your library. I would recommend before writing a play, read as much plays as you can, listen to as much plays as you can. I listened to Chaz Palminteri, The Bronx Tale. I actually bought his play that was available on Amazon. I read it from beginning to end. I read it so much. Then I went to see his show and I watched some clips on YouTube. And then another play I strongly recommend, Lawrence Fishburne's Thurgood Marshall. That's available on YouTube. Just type it in, you'll see it if it's still there. I hope it's still there. I've watched that. Amazing performance by Lawrence Fishburne. And then another thing you could do to improve your writing skills is to enhance your listening skills. And what I mean by that is, for example, when I was watching the Thurgood Marshall one-man play by Lawrence Fishburne, I turned away from the video screen. I just listened, or I closed my eyes without looking at the screen, at the stage, looking at the footage. And that helped me develop my cognitive awareness with what works and what doesn't in writing a solo play. So you can also do that. So again, just to reiterate, writing is a creative process. There's bumps along the road. Writer's blocks happens to everybody. Find a place and time for you that's convenient to write. And just free associate. Don't be afraid to make errors. And replays, listen to plays, do as much of that as you can. Take some stuff that encourages you, maybe use that. And the next step, I'm going to go into the actual writing itself. So I think you're going to have some golden nuggets in that video. And I hope this video helps you, encourage you, get you on the right track, and also help you have a better understanding of what it's like to write a solo play. So thank you for tuning in. If you haven't, hit that like and subscribe button, share with your friends, and also be sure to come out if you're in the area. Check out my latest show coming up at the link below. In this case, it's in the Northampton Center of the Arts, December 7th, December 14th, Falls of a Minimum Wage Guard. The world's first solo show highlighting shoplifting, loss prevention, retail crime. Until then, I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.
Foes of a Minimum Wage God, written by award-winning filmmaker and actor Ken Harris. This funny chaos on a stage is the world's first original solo play to highlight retail crime and loss prevention, and it's coming to the Northampton Center for the Arts. This comedy-drama story of self-discovery follows elderly security guard Steve Smelly. He thinks his complacency at a department store is a way of life, until a staff shortage hits the loss prevention department. Under the strict eyes of the evil corporate manager, Mr. Coldstone, Smelly is reassigned as a loss prevention detective to curb rampant shoplifting. If he fails, he will find himself out of a job. To make matters worse, he stumbles a shocking discovery that will not only test his loyalty to the store, but also his decision will impact his cherished relationship with co-workers. Don't miss this groundbreaking show, in which Ken Harris performs 12 characters in an 80-minute story that will leave you on the edge of your seats. Check out the show dates below and get tickets to Foes of a